the meeting. So great to be with you, Chris. We're glad you're here. Thanks for your
Thank
time
you for having
today.
me.
It's great to have
We
you.
had so much fun with your team. So much fun.
Yeah, likewise.
And we just want to, hear a little bit more from you about that. What were some of the benefits of having that program together and for your team?
Yeah, so my team has never been through something like this. So I think first and foremost, the ability to get out of the workplace and really develop a very positive energy setting per se, where they could, interact with each other outside of what they do during their normal minutia of their day. And then on top of that, the added value of learning how to work with each other on a more intimate or better basis, I think has been tremendously beneficial for this team here at St. Simon's.
And y'all were
Fantastic.
very good about being COVID careful because y'all
Yeah.
were already COVID careful on site.
Yeah,
Coming here, and we broke people into rooms so that we didn't have more than seven. So it was really, we were in the, when we did come together, there's a lot of space. So being
mhm,
able to have it be kind of a blend of virtual and in person, right? Because we had the virtual
absolutely.
escape game, which was virtual, but then
Mhm.
we had the face to face.
Absolutely. And I think like working in the healthcare industry, we're kind of predispositioned to all the horrors. I mean, not so much as the med surge world does, but we hear about it. And so you guys did an excellent job setting it up to the point where everyone was comfortable
Oh, good.
within our entity. So I very much appreciate that because that was definitely a challenge when we started planning this whole thing out.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And how would you say you've done other trainings before, Chris? How would you say that this training was different for you?
Yeah, it was very engaging. So, I mean, down to the pre-training requirements, which in our specific case, it was doing the assessments. And then when we arrived, we actually got that assessment that had detailed information about us, as well as our team. And I think that to me was a lot different than having your typical lectern up there lecturing us about what we need to do. It was kind of a
Right.
roadmap, a roadmap of, here's who you are, and here's, how you would work better with these individuals. And I think that was very, very clear. And folks were very excited to see where they were on their DIS spectrum.
Yes, loved
It's
that.
so the portal that you were shown is the Culture Catalyst, which is brand new. Like you
Yeah,
were almost a beta test as
that's
far
awesome.
as that. How have they found the portal and being able to take it back and play with it?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny because obviously there's been conflict since then, and, folks will come up to me and say, hey, I was having an issue with so and so, but I looked on the portal, I read their disc, and I was able to resolve it using those
Yes.
particular terms. So, literally, I mean, putting, the proof in the pudding there, per se, rubber meets the road. I mean, they literally were using that, and even so much where they've printed out supplemental documents, and I see it on every person's desk is their little notebook. So, in fact, with my replacement, the individual following me, I just created him a separate notebook with everybody's disc and in it, and so that's his roadmap per se.
Fantastic.
We've worked with CEOs that say, well, let me get to know my people, give me about 6 months. I'm going, you can do that, but you
Yeah,
can have these assessments and
sure.
we can show you the map of what's happening just from the assessments. And then if you can do this kind of offsite, you
Yeah.
can bond that group, which means it's going to go much faster. Any project you've got on the books that has a business solution that you're working towards, it will go faster. It's a go slow to go fast
Sure.
approach.
Yeah,
Sure. Absolutely.
that's awesome. And so,
Well,
what
so
did you?
we,
Oh, go ahead. I
no,
was
you
just
go
curious
ahead.
about the escape game. Sort of some takeaways that you
Mm.
had from that escape game experience, virtual escape game. Nobody had done it before. It was new to the group. What were some of your thoughts about that?
So obviously it was very fun, and it's a way that you really can see how folks work under duress, in a sense, and work under a problem solving, situation. But also it created kind of an empowerment. So you've got folks like, my team, the best team, who essentially worked very well together to, in a calm, orderly fashion. And then you have the other team who was, probably caused a bit of trauma to the guy actually doing the escape room as he was getting yelled with commands to do this and that. So it really showed, under those duress situations, okay, now I know why such and such acts or behaves in a way, and it's not a personal thing, it's who they are and it's how they interact. So the competitive nature of it too was fun, as you might could tell by my answer. And it's still something we talk about, and some folks even have taken away and done it privately with their family as they got together virtually over the holidays and that sort of thing. So that has been kind of neat to hear too as well.
Well, kudos to your team because you are in the mental health arena. So even about midway through the game, because I was in the room with the loudmouths,
Yeah.
because it was my people. It's who I am. So, and Shonda was the nice, polite people. So it worked exactly how we are. But they caught themselves so quickly. And what I love about the virtual game is immediately they have to instruct someone else to go and pick up something, open it, look behind it. So you really
Right.
get to be aware of your direction style. And
Very
they were
much.
pretty quick to start catching on to, oh, wait a minute, what is your name?
Yeah.
And maybe we should stop yelling just because we're under
Yeah.
time pressure. Just stop yelling and maybe would you mind? So they became
Yeah.
polite halfway through. So that was really kudos to your team that there was an awareness already, but we were able to build on it
Yeah.
afterwards in the debrief
And
and
I
talk about
thought,
the styles, etc.
yeah, and I thought too, it kind of added some validity to what I perceive as a good, solid team here.
Yeah.
We really, in my group per se, and even in the other group, we really didn't have to give out directions. It wasn't the CEO or the highest paid person or the highest titled person saying, okay, person A, B, and C, this is your job, this is your job, this is your job. I mean, it was really flowing really well immediately from the start. And we kind of knew the strengths and the weaknesses of other folks, like in my group, Q was taking notes. And it, ironically, she's the one that governs all the medical records. So, I mean, she's in notes and she has to have that ability just naturally throughout the course of her job. So she was going to make sure that we wouldn't miss anything. And, I might have taken a little bit more of a pointed direction, just in the nature of who I am. So it was really nice how it all just flowed together and it just worked really nicely.
We tell people that we can help you find your team's winning formula. Not only does each individual find their winning formula through the disc, but in
Mm-hmm.
the escape game, we can observe as professional team builders and leadership development coaches, we can observe their behavior and then in the debrief be able to say, part of your winning formula is that you
Yeah.
naturally did this under pressure. Because I think you mentioned earlier, sometimes we think of team building and leadership development like that person sitting at a podium telling them what they're doing wrong, right?
Yes.
We go from what's wrong and how do we fix it versus what is your winning formula? What does work? And then where are some flex opportunities? But
Yeah.
it's good to be able to build on what's working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that leads me to the last
So with
question.
the
That was our 90-day game, sort of like how taking this knowledge that you gleaned from the disc, taking the knowledge from what happened in the escape room, and then marrying that together to think
Mm-hmm.
about next steps. What did you think of that?
Yeah, so it was interesting because, I think, all fun and games are great, but if you never create an action, nothing is ever going to work. And so the one thing that I noticed that you guys did that was really well with our team is you almost gave the line staff, or not the line staff, but the management staff, some empowerment this is what we said we are going to do, and this is what you need to do. And so, even a week or two thereafter, we talked about this standing opportunity to really have some open communication, because that was something that they felt was lacking. And, even if I would miss one day, they would be like, hey, we met anyway. You need to make sure you're there the next time. So I thought that was really neat to empower them to keep it going. And they obviously felt like it was important enough to keep it going. And so it was nice to know that I don't have to be the person, oh, we got to do this and we got to do that. I mean, they're empowered to do it themselves.
Beautiful.
Love
That
that.
intrinsic motivation was there. They were in alignment with it and
Yeah.
went forward with it. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that feedback. And I don't know, Rachel, do you have any other
Sure.
questions you wanted to ask?
If you were going to like explain to somebody
Mhm.
what this was and why it would be worth taking the time and investing the money, what would be kind of a really quick 2-second, here's what I
Sure.
think?
Well, I personally believe that you have got to invest in your people more than just giving them a paycheck. And as a leader, you can't expect your folks to grow and grow a company without growing their personal development too. It just doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And so for me, this was it was a part about training them and understanding their disc, but it was more importantly, how do I put some value and how do I make them feel valued in more of a development role? And so obviously the disc is a great tool to do that. So for me, the amount of money that we spent on this training is minuscule compared to the development that I received and the motivation that I received and the optimization of that employee as they move forward. Because not only did they take that to the workplace, they took it home. They took it in their personal lives. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. And without a shadow of a doubt, the amount of money we put into it, the return has been tenfold.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to doing more because, as you mentioned, you've gotten a raise and you're moving to another part of the country. Congratulations. Just a little bit, but enough to go, let's go, let's move. So we're looking forward to coming and working with your new team and coming back and working with your team that you've left behind with the new CEO. So thank you.
Likewise.
For that. We've created, I think, a teamwork between the sandbox and your company
Yes.
that can move forward. And because we have the portal now installed, we can have periodic, quarterly conversations to keep that 90-day alive, right?
Most definitely.
And we can have another game, down here at the sandbox again too next year.
Definitely.
At the beach.
Definitely excited for the rematch.
Yes.
There you go.
Love
Let's
it.
hear it for the rematch. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for your time today. We do appreciate it.